Hello and welcome to this webinar. My name is Mohsen Gayami. I am the country manager in Hungary, and today I will go through this webinar to show you the version 21. This version will be released either today or in this week, latest in this week. So it will be I think a great version of version 21. So let's have a look at it. Look at this version. First of all, I would like to ask you. I'm going to hold this webinar alone, and I would like to ask you if you have any question. Just feel free to put the question through the question panel of the GoToWebinar, and I will answer you after the webinar. So at the beginning, just I would like to mention that I might not be able to finish this webinar in 1 hour because it will be long. I apologize for that if it's happening, but I will try my best to fit myself to this 1 hour. But otherwise, we will, if someone should leave, I apply for that, and we will send this recording to the to all the participants and the registrants after the webinar. First of all, that as you can see, we came up with the new logo of the FEM-Design. This is a little bit fresh looking compared to the other versions, so it's really it's redesigned now. You can also see in the splash screen that this logo would be visible here. I have lots of things to go through. I divided these to 6 categories. First, user interface, modeling and tools, analysis, design, results, and documentation, and the interoperability. So before we start, just I would like to mention that just I made a column here. You can see that I have the FEM-Design 21 here. So I have a 1 column here. I just put a dimension to this. This is showing the number of the improvement and the new features of the FEM-Design 21. So we have done a 111 improvement and the new features in the FEM-Design 21. So it we think that would be a great version. It's coming out very soon. And you can see that we have here, I have also here 2 colors, the yellow and the blue. And these are showing the features in the yellow part that the source of FEM-Design development group is done, is 50, but the 61 of them, I mean the improvement and the new features are coming from all the users that they contribute with us with the new features. So this is I think a very good ratio now that we have something and we listen more to you. Let's see what we are going to touch today. I'm going to touch not all 111, but as much as I can, all the items that is written here, I will be trying to show you. But for the interoperability, I will just mention some. I will not have time to go through that. In the user interface, we have 4 items. The first is we came up with the new brand new command center, where you can see the project here. It is actually looking, I think, very nice. It's easy now to handle other part as well. So we have the new projects here. If you have a new project, you can starting the modules from here. The next is the recent project that it has 2 options here. One, the thumbnail, and the other is the listing. It's easier. You can see the models and some more information about those. And here we can find the tools about the license borrowing, returning, the company settings, and all the other plugins with the Revit, Tekla, and prefab print. Also, there's some API. And the other good part is the learning. You can just go through this, get started to the wiki, the webinars and the training videos, download center, source of homepage. Actually, if when we are releasing and you start the FEM-Design, I suggest you to go to wiki, because in the wiki we have all the new features, even the one that I'm not touching today. So easy, just with one click you can go there, and all the description and the pictures and everything is there. Following our new command center, we are also in harmony with the installation. So new installation is available, will be available in the version 21. When you start installing, it will guide you through the options here, and also some projects with the credit to the companies will be shown during the installation. If you have interesting project, feel free to send us, and we maybe in the next version we try to put it in. Now the next is a fresh look at the icons and toolbars. So if we check the version 21 compared to 20, so you will see that it's get the very fresh look compared to the version 20, as you can see here. And also the icons here are freshen up. That's you will see it yourself also. The next is the customizable user interface. We came up with the fast way to make the user interface simpler, because we have lots of icons now. As the program is developing, we just generate the icons, but we came up with this quick changing, I mean, the quick profile, user interface profile, that you can select as a default between the compact and the full. But by the way, this function is existing from, I think, version 19. You can just right click on the items and you can hide it. And if you come up with your user interface that you're gonna use, you can just right click here and do the configuration. In the configuration, you can just give any name. Just here, as example, I put the customize, and if you save it, then this will be available in the quick list as well. So you can customize your interface very easy now. The next is a duplicator window. For example, if you are working in a model, so in the middle, maybe you hide something, you change the view, and you put some numbers. Now you can have a duplicate window, just clicking in the window, duplicate, and exactly same window will be available. So you can go further by hiding the part of it and so on, but you will not losing the original window. This is beside what we had, the new window in the earlier version. The new window was starting from the original status of the model. So it's more easier if you want to duplicate the middle window. Now we are going to go through the modeling and tools. We have 20 items here to touch. First of all, we had some issues with the text. It was a graphical engine, so it was only available in the wireframe. But from version 21, we developed the engine, and this will be available from the in any viewing mode. So all the text will be available in this view mode. The next is a statistic dialog that get the label refreshment or the improvement. So the objects having the pieces, it's now shown in the blue color. And another improvement is that could be sorted. So just if you click on the header of the column, they could be sorted. The beam also got improvement. Start and the end of the beam is available in the tooltip. If you stand close to any of the ends, you will see either this is the start point or this is the end point of the beam or the bar, not the beam, all type of bar. Built-in calculator is again back to FEM-Design. In any places that you have a numerical value, if you stand there, just click on C, the calculator will come up where you can do your calculation. And when you are finished with that, just you click on the close, and the value automatically will put put back in the field. So it's available where in whole FEM-Design where you have the numerical value. Rename and renumbering object without calculation. It was actually, as we are working in the finite element, it was a bigger development for us to do this, because in the beginning, if we change this the numerical the IDs here, the finite element calculation was also touched, and now it's improved in a way that if you change the numbering, for example, here I change some numbering of the, let's say, some bar, some plate, and so on. And if I go back to analysis, the result will remain. It's not disappearing. The next is the layer search and filter tool. This is also a big improvement, I think. It's a very nice feature, especially in the object layer, not only the drawing and the load case. Also in object layer, we have lots of layers here. It was hard to find them easily, but now if in the filter, if you start to write it, then all those layers will be visible. And if you just click enter, it will be inside the library. So if you don't like that, of course, with the X, you can just remove that. So the next is the also there's something about this layering. We have the sorting on the column. So we have the default, and we have three status. We have default, ascending, and descending. Just let me also show this two options here. Here, for example, if I start to write steel, then only steel layers will be available. If I open here, I have this steel. Maybe that I just remove the steel from here. But if I give any name, for example, it's without L. If I enter, it will be here. Of course, I can remove that. And beside that, we have the status here. So if I click, I have three status here: default, ascending, and descending. It's also for the working for all of those. The next is the new quick tools member. It's display. It is, I think, it's very handy to have it here. We have the detail settings here. This is nothing else than the settings and the display. So all the things that we have it here, it's available here in the quick tools. It's much easier now to turn on and off the display settings. And also beside that, we have the macro. It's almost the same with the display, but we have one or two members out of the display, but it's also very handy. Let me show this one as well. For example, if I go just to input, I have this detail settings. I have this. Let's start with the macro. I can just turn on and off the IDs. Material, for example, it's now easy to handle this. If I have any load, I can just put and or remove the value. And in the detail settings also, for example, end of the bars that I can turn on and off. You can see that these are coming and going. The next what we are going to have to see is the filter selection. The filter selection is can be saved. So if you are working, let's say the bigger model, if you select something and you go further and refine it, after you are done with the selection in the model, just you click on save, and you can give the name, and if you save it, next time it will be there. Let me show this one also, maybe in a bigger model. It's in Norra Trona in the Stockholm, the highest building, residential building. It's if I go to the filter, I already have one here. It's thickness of 150. If I just click, you will see that I have this. I say okay, and I can say hide all others, so I can see those. I show all again. I will go again to this filter. I try to select some selection, and after, when I'm ready, I will just click save. Oh no, sorry, I will refine this. Maybe I will refine this by, let's say, to have only the plates. Oh no, sorry, I should reset again. I select some stories once more. I had to add this and not the plus. I made a mistake there, but here I go to the plate and I say only the plates. And if I go, for example, here and only the 20 centimeters, then I can just save it. And I say selected and just save it. So if I just reset in one click, I can select it, but I didn't save it, sorry. Anyway, this is, I think it was visible. So with the save it, we can have it. Now for the filter, I have one new thing also here. In the version 20, we have the material, but all type of materials are inside. Version 21, this is categorized by the concrete. Compared to version 20, you had to select one by one, but if you are selecting on the concrete, for example, it's one click, you can select it. In the design group, in version 20, we had this this option that create user-defined filter. So this was actually making the a user-defined filter out of the design group. But in version 21, as soon as you just create the design group, it will be added also in the filter. Of course, we kept this icon there again if someone wants to use it. The next is a steel hinge macro. The macro is doing actually the same as the intermediate section, but this is much easier to make it. So if you have a steel frame, just you click the bar and end of the bar, and that's it. It's there. Let me also show this. If I have this, I go to hinge. Before that, we had to make it with the intermediate section, but now it's easy to select this endpoint and I have it there. And of course, easily it's possible to change, for example, the age to be, let's say, 200, and it's modified. The next is the improvement of library modification. The library modification was, if we think, for example, as an example, I come with the edge connection. Maybe you had experienced this if you select the edge connection, if you go to the library and edit the library. So by modifying any number here, and if you were just saving this and modifying and then saving, then closing, that was changing the library, but not the model. But now you will get a message here that if you want to modify the library and also all the things in the model, use library and use stiffness in the model. If you say the both is changed and the model will be modified, otherwise you say no, then the library will change, but in the model, the stiffness of the edge connection in this example will be renamed. This is not only valid for the edge connection. This works also for rigidity type, material, timber panel, PTC, post-tension cable, RC rebar, joint, bolts, and the fire protection material. Now the next is the change stiffness reaction for the profile timber panel. Last year we came up with this converting the object. For example, you can convert simple plate to the profile plate, and in some cases they had the main direction of the panels in wrong way, and for this we have developed this new option here, change direction. By clicking on the panel giving the new direction, then the direction is changed. This is now easy to modify. The next is the fictitious bar for tension and compression. So we have already had this bended bar, but now we come with the truss, where you can have the stiffness separated, behavior separated for the compression and the tension as well, and also the capacity value. The next is the fictitious shell or bar, or also bar mass handling. This is for the fictitious shell. We add this unit mass, and it can be modified and handled here. We didn't have it. For the bar, we had this, but now it's in the harmony with the shell as well. So you can find it also in the bar. The next is the cover, recess supporting of the structure. For the cover, usually they use automatic supporting. So it will put the automatic supporting with the cover, but we had a request that they want to just remove this at once, and they want to modify it. And now with this option, with one click, it's possible. The next is the climate panel. This is actually was existing in the wind load macro, but we came up with the new macro, the snow, that I'm going through soon. So this was necessary to take it away and put it outside of the wind macro, and now it will be used by one of the wind macro and also the new snow macro. So the difference is also, actually it was possible to associate to the structural element as it was, but now we have the draw panel. You can even put it for part of the panel, not whole. So this is, as I mentioned, it's in the generic building. It will be used by generic building. It was inside this, now it is taken to the outside because we will use it for the snow load as well. So in the generic building, actually it will be used in the snow also. It will be in the generic building. when you are done with the climate panel, and then you can do this wind load, generate the wind load. So the next is a new wind load. This is the shear wall, which came from the Danish engineers. They use a simplified method. It's like a Excel table. They had to always fill it and put it back in the program, but with this one, it's much easier now to just fill it inside the program and generate the wind load at the top of the wall. So first is the definition of the shear wall, where it's possible to select the walls that you want to have the shear wall on that. And also here you can define the exponent and the alpha. When you are done with the first steps, then you go to the generate, and you get this dialog where it's standing of the force and the eccentricity in the x plus, y plus, x minus, and the y minus for different stories, and it will distribute the load at the top of the given defined walls. So if after that they say okay, and they can generate this the wind load at the top of the wall. Actually, this option is also put in the regular building, where we have an option here, apply wind load directly on the shear wall. So if this is selected, then we will generate all the wind load only at the top of those walls. The next is the snow load. This is it was very simplified in the version 19 and earlier. Just we removed it in version 20, but now we came up with the new snow load, where you can put the load on the connected roof, attic wall, tall building, snow fence, and snow overhang. Let me show this one. So I have this, then I need to define the climate panel. So I can either select those and give the outside direction one by one, as I mentioned earlier. And I put this, for this one, I need only part of it. And outside is this way. For this, I need only this. So I'm done with the walls. The roof, I will just define and I have the ridge roof here and here. So I'm ready with this. I can go to the snow load. For the snow load, there is a definition that you can either select yourself and just define it, or you can press on the wizard and you say, okay, generated. It's all generated for the model, and that's it. Yeah, then we have to generate, and we give this the information that's necessary for the generation according to your code, and say okay, then the loads are generated, as you can see it here. Okay, the next part of the presentation is analysis. We have 9 items here that we are going through that. The first one is the categorized group of analysis type. If compare it to version 20, we have all the analysis here, but in version 21 we came up with the group of that static and stability analysis and the dynamic analysis. Easily you can now select between the dynamic and the static. Nonlinear calculation is faster now. It's 2 or 3 times. It is, of course, it's if the nonlinear behavior of the structure in the load combination is turned on, and if the calculation enter to the nonlinear, then it will be much faster. I have tested this model here in version 20 and version 21. By the way, this, as what I mentioned, this nonlinear, it's not about this data preparation, it's not about the linear load case calculation, it's about the nonlinear analysis. If you enter to this nonlinear analysis, it will be 2-3 times faster. This is an example that I tested in version 20, and I got 37 minutes to calculate this nonlinear. In version 21, it took only 15 minutes. So if you do the nonlinear calculation in version 21, it's at least 2-3 times faster. You can save time. The next is the load mismatched warning. If you are using the FEM-Design and you are aware of this load mismatch message. Now, if you have this load mismatch, then you will we will show you the part of this. I mean, compared to the total, you can decide it that's which part of it's out of the model. Then you should go and check it, or you can ignore it. And there is a summary for whole model also here down. The next new thing is we came up with the message layer. So again, if you have some error and the warning in the model, we have come with the save option here. What the save is doing, it's put the information to a layer, it's called message, and also it's pull all the messages to the program where you can see where the which warning was there, and also putting in the message there as I mentioned, and it will be turned on here. Actually, you can turn on this layer, then these will be hidden, or you can just delete them if you are done with any of them and you don't want to have it to see it. The next thing in the analysis is the plastic hinge for the steel beam and the column. So for this, in the bar, you should define the which plastics of the bar you want to see, ultimate or the severity. Separately, you can just turn it on. Then if it is turned on the bar, and if in the combination setup, if the plastic behavior is turned on, then you will get the result of that. For example, if we check this sigma max of the result, you will get some information there, and in detail result you can see this result as well. And also we have the plastic condition result, that you will see the elastic, plastic, and the detached part of the model. Here we have the only plastic, and you can see it here. The next is a periodic excitation, which came in version 21. This is about the machine that are rotating, and they extract the horizontal and the vertical force, and it's calculated in this way. If actually having such a force in the model, so this is a horizontal and vertical, and you want to have a periodic excitation, then you go to this option here, and you can define the combination, the frequency, and the safety factor, also the cosine or the sine phase, and the load cases. If you have these, then these information, then in the calculation, you find in the dynamic part period excitation, where you can define the calculation parameter, damping type, Rayleigh damping matrix, and damping factor. And after that, if you calculate it, the results will be here for the period excitation, statical displacement, dynamic displacement, acceleration, reaction, bar internal forces, normalized dynamic factor, and the modal participation factor. where in the modal participation factor, you can see the detailed result of that in a nice graph here. So the next is the story fundamental frequency calculation. This was originally came from the CLT users. So they say that if the frequency of the story is above 8, that's fine. But if the frequency of the story is under 8, they need to perform the detailed calculation. For this, they needed this fundamental frequency calculation. So this is now in the FEM-Design, in the calculation dialog. You can find it here, and you can select the stories that you want to calculate. So these are calculated, but the good news is that it's not only now for the CLT, it can support all kinds of the material. Now actually when you finish with the calculation, you get this dialog where the detailed calculation can be seen here. But when you close in version 20, you cannot return back this anymore. But in version 21, we came up with the open last calculation report. I mean, the last calculation, you do it in the model, it would be available now after you're closing this dialog. The next is the imperfection calculation. Up to now, it was only for steel structure, but now it supports all type of structure and not only steel. So you can also do the imperfection for concrete as well, timber and any other material. Now we start with the design. So in design, we have 17 items that we go through. So as the first item is the reinforcement coloring. So this is available for the manual and the auto design. If we check the auto design, we have here an icon here where it shows the color of the reinforcement that is presetted. And of course, you can overwrite that and save it and use that. If you have your settings, then if you do the automatic calculation, then the reinforcement put in by the program will follow these colors, and it will do the coloring of the reinforcement. It's much easier now to recognize the colors by the direction also. And this is, as I mentioned, is also available in the manual design. When you are trying to draw it yourself, now you get the option here where you can define the color. So if you change the color, for example, then if you try to draw any reinforcement, it will be following this color that you set here. Beside this, also you can also modify this color after the word, I mean after the generation. So change appearance is the option for this. If you come with the change appearance and select the reinforcement, you get the color option here. If you change it, then it will be put back after the OK to this. Let's have a look at this. So here, if I just go to the auto design and generate, I have this option here, color setting. This is the default that you get. I just, let's say I will make one of them, one of the plate. So I will see these colors as a default color, but if I go to this option, I did some predefined colors, just I load it, and if I do it again, then I will get those colors that I defined it here in the settings for the basenet and so on. So easier now to recognize the coloring. And of course, as I mentioned in the tools, in the modify, change appearance, you can override this color by the one that you select. Okay, the next is the something in the bar design. It's about the bars that you don't want to have the tension or that in the designing. So in the calculation parameters, we have one options here, ignore torsion. So you can ignore the torsion in the bar if you don't want to design for the torsion. The next is the symmetric bar reinforcement. We came up with this symmetric bar. Actually, this is option here that you can find in the design parameters. It can be symmetric to the axis 1 or 2, Pearson axis 1 or 2, or if you have the circular reinforcement, you can also have this. So let's see, as now in version 20, this will follow the internal forces, and the reinforcement are drawn, designed as internal forces. It could be, in most cases, this is not symmetric. But if you want to have the symmetric option, then you can select one of them. For example, I select to be symmetric in the principal axis 2. Then you can see this will be symmetric, but if you don't want, you can use the original one and go through the internal forces and reinforce it. Next is the RC wall automatic buckling length. In the in the buckling length, we came up with this calculation option here. So if you select this and select the walls here in your model, then it automatically will calculate the buckling length of the wall. Next option in the design is the eccentric increment in the RC shell. In the calculation parameter, you can set it. It is in the design eccentricity increment for the additional or minimal, and there are some options here for the buckling. Actually, you can modify this, and if you stand there, a tooltip also will come up and will actually describe that what is about. Beside that, also in the detail results of the reinforcement, you will have this this eccentric increment inside this table of the design forces. The next is the for the shell auto design is improved. We come up with the new option here. Actually, in the shape we had two type of the of option. It's rectangular, or this was the steps. It was following the internal forces, but this was not really good for the drawing, shop drawing, and this was not really economic. Now we came up with another option, minimum area of the rectangle, where you can define the minimum of the B. So this can give the most economic result or reinforcement, and which could be also used for the workshop drawing. The next is the RC shell on fly missing and apply reinforcement. So if you are doing the manual design, if you have reinforcement, and if you just modify anything on that, it's automatically, it will be refresh the result. Let me show this. This feature. So this is the model that I have it here, and if I just come here and just let's say I draw something here manually, and it will update the result. I mean the result, and if I of course modify, or let's say I erase it, then the result is just updated automatically. But if you don't wish it, you can just turn it on and off from here. from this dialog. The next is about the punching of wall ends. This was missing, and we came up in the version 21. So for the end wall now, you're able to generate this automatically, and of course a tooltip that gives information about its properties. The next is the change direction of concealed bar. So the concealed bar was actually made automatically, but in some cases, as example, we have it here. It's put it as a bar, but probably someone wanted to make it as a wall. So with this change direction, you can just change the direction of the concealed bar easy now. The next is a steel joint force result. So if you are in 3D structure and you have some steel joints and you have designed it, now we have the new result in beside the utilization and the forces. If you check this, you will find the forces, and of course you can have the numerical value for that as well. The next is the design steel for any section type. It's mainly about the bars, the cables that actually they had some problems. Some user that they had the problem with this stability, but now if you select a stability check as ignore in the calculation parameter, then the cable and any other section type of the steel can be designed if the stability is ignored. The next is a fire design, and separate buckling values can be set for RC, steel, timber, and the composite. So this is in the calculation parameter. You can give the multiplier lengths and separate to set these values. The new thing is now the fire design for CLT. Who is using the CLT now, they can have the CLT panel fire design. This is the option in the calculation parameter. So you can set the information about that. And if this is set and you calculate it, either design it or either checking manual design or the auto design, then you can define the material type and also the minimum, maximum thickness and so on. And when it is defined and you check it or design it, then in the utilization of the CLT panel fire design, you will get this dialog where we have two options here. First is the design calculation, where you can get the detailed result of that, and of course, and also the reduced panel compared to you can compare it to the original one. This is reduced panel there, where the part of the working area of the CLT panel will be shown, the bearing area. The next is the stress distribution, where you can see it also in the given point, the stress distribution. The next is the improvement or new features in the masonry shear design. So we came up in version 20, but we were missing the shear design for this. Now in version 21, you get this, where you find two new results. One is in the internal forces, the shear force, and in the utilization shear wall. So if you have the shear wall utilization here, then in the detailed result, you will get this shear check as well in the calculation. Now it's about the composite column that we came up with the reinforcement macro. Last year we came up for the simple bar design in RC design, but now you can also make it in the parametric reinforcement. There are two options here, the rectangular and the circular. In the rectangular, these two sections are supported, and for the circular, these three options are supported. Also, we came up with the auto design of the composite column. So if we there are 5 types of the section that we are supporting in the auto design. The 2 are the rectangular and the circular. If you do the auto design calculation, then you will get the utilization result, and also you get the detailed result of that, as you can see it here. Let me also show this. So in the composite column, if we are in the auto design, the first is the parameter. So if I select any of those, for example, here I have define some columns here, I can select among those, and of course different for the circle, and I do the auto design for those, and it will be ready. And if I check the utilization result here, then I can see the detailed result of those. So all the detailed result about the reinforcement and the steel are available here for the supported section. And if I select the other one, the circular, is also this, you can see it here. The next is the composite column fire design, which is new. Also, there are 3 types of the that we have the tabulated design method. We have the encased profile and tabulated design method. In the partially encased profile simplified calculation model is implemented, and we have the concrete field profile. As you can see, these are you can find these 3 in the Eurocode with the given reference or the annex. So for this, for the first one, encased profile, concrete encased profile, it is independent from the applied load, prescribes minimum maximum geometrical dimension for the section and reinforcement layout. And in the calculation parameter, there's a place, of course, you can play with the mesh here. You may try it yourself. But if we are talking about the concrete encased profile, the thermal action is the factor that will affect this. And if in the result, in the composite column utilization result, you can see also the detailed result about this fire design. The next is the partial encased profile, the buckling resistance for bending around weak axis with the balance summation model. Sum up the individual contribution of the web, flange, concrete, and the reinforcement bar. And also the eccentric load is considered according to the standard buckling resistance multiplied by the ratio of the buckling load in case of the eccentric and centric loading, as you can see it here. Also, for this ratio, the interaction curve of the section on room temperature is obtained according to this. So here, for the partial encased profile, the thermal action and buckling length multiplier is affecting the calculation. In the result of the utilization, you will have also the fire information about this in the detail, as you can see it here. And the last type is the concrete field profile. There are 2 major steps. This calculate the temperature distribution within the cross section. In FEM-Design, we perform the nonlinear heat transfer analysis. And the second step is calculate the design axial buckling resistance based on the temperature field. Design axial load obtained from the following equality. And the eccentric load is also considered according to the Eurocode as follows. So for this one, in the calculation parameter, all the options available here will affect the calculation. And in the result, we will have this utilization result Here you can see also the heat transfer in a very nice graph form. So this is I think the nice graph. The next part is the result and the documentation. I have 9 items here, and let's go through this. I can see I will be a bit longer than the 1 hour. I apologize for that, but I will just try to do my best to fit to this. For the first one, we come up with the predefined color for the map, for the color map. Actually, we have some new icons here. I'm not going through those with the tooltip. They speak themselves. I will check only, I will touch only one load schema. So one of my colleagues from Sweden, Joachim, he had a big investigation around, and he found I think very nice color palette here. So easily, if you click in that, easily you can access any of them. And for example, if we select this, then after OK, it will be actually loaded. The new color palette, and easy to handle. The new thing is the color palette lock map. This is, I think, is very useful. If you check the result, for example, MX, and then you go to another result, MY, you get different values according to this result, displaying result. It's getting the absolute maximum or minimum of that, and this is distributed here. But here we came up in an option here, keep current scale if possible. If this option is selected, it means that the result will be locked. I mean, the locked of the color palette. For example, if you're checking the MX and lock this, then your MY also will be in same scale, and you can just compare it easily now. The next is the numeric value default text format. If we are in the model, if you change the text format of your model here, the different one, let's say the array block, then this will be the default value. It means the next value will be using this one. And also, if you start a new FEM-Design, it will use this. But if you have already saved the model, that will use the last use of that model. Deflection utilization in design table is available if in the analysis you did the deflection check. So in all the design tabs in the table, you will get this deflection check column here with the percentage. The next is about the quality estimation. There is more parameters for the concrete. This was version 20, but in version 21 we have more parameters here, and also the timber panel got the separate table now. So this is the timber panel where you can define, you can get this quantity estimation parameters here separately. It was not separate before. Table result, added converted load. If you have the converted load from the cover, then you can have the listing of that. So you find it here. The next is the table result for the effective mass table after the again frequency calculation. In version 20, we had only this total livable mass and nothing inside this. But in version 21, this will be, you get this this result. This is nothing else than what we had it in after the again frequency in seismic calculation setup dialog, what we have it here. This was also available from the table result, but now you can see it also here. So the next is also about the table. Firebar design group utilization for steel and timber is added. So these are available in the max-up combination and max-up load group, and you can just have this table result of this. The next is about also the table for the people who are using working with another program, they can have a GUID listing, so they can use this listing and they can work with the other program as well easily. So the last part of the new features is about the interoperability. I'm not going to touch this, only just a list showing the list. And actually the biggest thing that we are going up in version 21 is IFC export coordination view. As some beta tester, they say that this is one of the best in the market, the IFC export coordination view. I hope you will try that. If you have any suggestion or any feedbacks, you are welcome to let us know. And out of this, we also had lots of IFC import improvements, as you can see it in the list. I'm not going through this, as I mentioned. And also we have the new format as SSAF, structural analytical format. If you are aware of that, it could be the format that could be even exchange a model between the analytical softwares, finite element softwares. So we came up in version 19, but we had also some new features and improvement here. We have some in the through XML, and also we have in the FEM-Design script, and also small new thing in DWG. So I'm a little bit, few minutes over the time that I had to be in. Finally, I would like to thank you for your attention. And I have one request. There are only 4 questions. There will be a survey after I end the webinar, and there will be 4 questions, about short question. We would be happy if you can answer to those. I hope you enjoyed the version 21 presentation, and hopefully in this week you will be able to try it if you have time, and I hope you will enjoy the version 21. Thank you for your attention and have a nice day, and I will answer the question after the webinar. Thank you. Goodbye.